we're receiving an audio. Mary Jo, click the recording in progress. It's interesting. It shows here that the recording has been in progress for 30 minutes.
Huh. Yeah, you're right. It does.
Which is weird.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because when I clicked the link, it said join a meeting already in progress, and then at 12 o'clock, it's like, how is that in progress? Or are we just getting started?
Hmm.
It's interesting. Mary Jo logged off, but the recording's still in progress.
Yeah, it shows you as the host now, Frank, on my phone.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Oh yeah, it does show me as the host. I have no idea why. All right, you know what? I just hit unmute all. That's the first time that showed up. It gave me the opportunity to unmute all.
Hmm.
All right, see what happened to Mary Jo logs in. But she was listed, when she was on the screen, it showed that she was the host, and it was listed as old line commission and boards.
Boards and commissions, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Hi, everybody.
Maybe she's calling in.
Yeah,
Hey.
Can you hear? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Very
hear
good.
you. Yes.
I decided to give up and call in.
Now.
Probably because you are one of the commission chairs, maybe. I don't know.
Well, we're back recording now.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, everybody, for the problem. I'll try and figure this out after our call. But welcome. This is the Community Connectivity Grant Committee meeting, virtual special meeting of Monday, March 28th, 2022 at noon. Actually, we're starting at 12:11 p.m. And thank you for having lunch with me today. I think on the screen we have Bonnie Riemsnyder, Frank Pappalardo, Eric Olson, and Jim Lampos, and myself, Mary Jo Nozel, members of the committee. Is there any member of the community on the call?
Nothing
Okay.
else listed. Nothing. No other participants listed here.
Great. Thank you very much. Our main agendas today are any updates committee to author or recommend payment of the application number 2, 3, and 4 for our contractor, Martin Laverio. Resolve any or discuss any next steps or questions, and then approve our last minutes, which were from March 1st. And if we could move into any updates before we go on. Does anyone have any questions or concerns or updates they'd like to share with the committee?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. Frank, I had a question. Did you get a chance to look at the trees?
Yeah, the trees along the southern border of Pena's property look like they're in a straight line now. I just have no idea of how far they're offset from the property line because I didn't see any stakes for the property line.
Yeah.
And I believe that somebody was supposed to stake that out so that both Pena and we knew where the property line was.
Well, you've said that before, and they did this triangulation measurement. It was never, I don't know why it was staked. I don't know if it was supposed to be staked, but that tree at the corner of the Pena property, the western corner of their property, was on the line per Kurt. And so everything to the east of that should be in a line. It does appear they moved the trees in a line with that tree. Also, the most easterly tree was in a line originally. So what I think Mr. Pena has to do is look at the survey that was sent again to him to make sure that he puts his fence on his property. If we as a committee want to ask BSC or Martin Lavero to stake that out, especially, I think that will be an add-on cost.
There should be an iron pin there somewhere, I would imagine. I couldn't see on the survey.
Pardon me?
I couldn't see on the survey. It would say IP on the property corners.
Maybe at the day they come out to lay out, we can ask them to put something up, flag it. Would that make sense to everybody so they don't have to make a special trip?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay. I'll ask him if he can flag that.
I think also if we don't have iron pins on the town property, it would be a good investment. It's not that expensive to have it done. And, anything we do on the property is going to require us to know exactly where the property line is. I think just about every property down here in Soundview has something they can reference. So we should just, ask BSC if there are references on the lot that we can avail ourselves to, iron pins or mirrorstones or what have you, that we can shoot lines off of in the future.
Okay.
So we don't have to.
All right.
We don't
I'll
have to
send
keep
that to
engineers,
Yeah.
Surveyors.
Okay. Okay. And hopefully they can do that the day they come out to prepare for the work on the transit hub.
The only other thing I noticed regarding trees, Mary Jo, was the maple tree. Westernmost maple tree is planted and it's leaning at about maybe a 20-degree angle. So that needs to be straightened out.
And I did put that in an email to Dan and Rob.
Okay.
So thank you. We definitely need to follow up on that, of course, but they have been duly notified. The other thing you guys probably saw is that the bus shelter won't get here till August. I was totally surprised by that little email. We did get the template, which I sent to BSC and to Martin Lavero. So, I mean, I'm assuming at this point that means Public Works will be doing the work in August.
Yeah, unless, well, we'll be closed out by then, so Martin Lavero will be gone by that time.
Yeah, I mean, last month he did indicate to me that we could hire them to do it. They've done this before, but it would be a long time from now. So yeah. I was really surprised because I've been trying to keep Nine-Town Transit in the loop, and Tim has been saying he talked to Joe Comerford, who's their executive director. So I was very surprised to get that note finally from him. But I don't know. I asked if there was a purchase order on the shelter we could have. I never got a response to that either. So I suspect it just didn't get ordered. And then he did indicate in the mail that there's there's a problem with the supply chain for that item. So
What a surprise.
we're just going to make sure in our final notes to the town that they're aware that that's going to be coming, and they can plan for Public Works to install it.
Mary Jo, it may also have something to do with the way their fiscal years go. I know that each year they can order, sometimes they're limited as to how many they can order. They may actually be getting them through the federal government. There are a lot of factors that could affect even the ordering of that. I don't think it's actually now Nine-Town Transit that is actually necessarily funding it. It may be coming out of funds through the federal government for transit and, that kind of thing. So that plays a lot into it. Things that are kind of confusing at our level to understand all the transportation grants, because they fall under the United States Department of Transportation and get a lot of funding through them. So that could play a factor too. It really doesn't surprise me that there's such a lead time based on past experience.
Okay. Well, what was frustrating though is not getting any response from Joe. So, maybe he was communicating with Tim at their meetings. I think Tim is the secretary for the Nine-Town Transit, but that information was not shared with our committee. So I was surprised. So we'll just have to keep on that one. I have made it clear to Martin Lavero that it's very important that the priority has to be the grass that we discussed, or the work on the driveways that need to be done in April. He's aware of that. He doesn't expect to be working or starting till mid-April. They have received an email from me asking for a work plan, projected start of work, and a reminder that we would want everything laid out ahead of time at the transit hub so that we can make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. I think that's all the notes I had. Does anybody else have anything else?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Jim.
No, just a quick question as to whether the transit hub can become operational without the shelter. Can we actually, use that, or is it dependent on the shelter?
Well, we'll have the benches will be there,
Right.
bike rack and all the other amenities. So I don't see any reason why it should be.
I don't think it's dependent on the shelter.
I remember I had a conversation with Kurt before he left, before we knew he was going to leave, regarding the rope fencing around the front part of the property. And I asked if it would be possible to make at least one of those sections removable in the event we had to get in there with cars or something. He said, yeah, no problem, we can do that. I just need to make sure that doesn't fall by the wayside as we move forward here with the new engineer. When they make the roping, they're going to have to make breaks in that roping so that we can drive cars onto that front portion if needed, or make a change in just the location of where the two side portions of that roping come down. Maybe leave one side off. Yeah.
can you send a note to Rob Newton about that? 'Cause I don't think he has any awareness of that discussion.
We're okay with that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's wise to do that, to have accessibility.
You
Yeah.
need access for landscapers.
Yeah.
From some part, either from the bus portion, from the road, the crossroad lot, or from the front. Somehow they're going to need to get lawn equipment in there.
Yeah.
So that could be wherever they come in. That would be our access point as well, I would think.
Yeah, Frank, can you put your thoughts in an email to Rob Newton on that so that he can give that some thought? I don't know if this would require a change order. I really don't have any.
I just jotted a note to myself. I'll run it past you before it gets sent anywhere. So.
Okay. Thank you. Good points, everybody. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, nothing. We'll move on to the payments that were received last week and recommended for payment by BSC Group. These are the second, third, and fourth payment applications to Martin Lavero, and basically account for the rest of the base bid work on Hartford Avenue and change orders 1 through 4. So the only thing outstanding will be an application for change order number 5, which is the remaining work on the transit hub. Were there any questions on these? I didn't get any backup. I only got the email that I sent you guys.
I guess the only question that I have is, did they, this was approved by the engineer?
Yes.
Okay. Then that would indicate that they build it the way that they wanted it built, what percentage was done and that sort of thing.
That's right. BS signed off on March 22nd.
Were they 100% payment requests?
For application number 2, it was for 90% of the base bid.
Now, application number 2, wasn't that the signpost?
Not for change order number 2. For application number 2, the whole payment was for the base. Yeah, the base bid was on application. Okay, I'm just talking application number 2. It was not 100% for that. It was 90%, and it was 100% for the other items, which of course we haven't seen yet. To your point, Frank, I think that's where you were going with that.
Right. If we haven't seen them, I don't see how we can approve 100% payment for it.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I would agree with Frank on that one.
I think we need to get Rob Newton to explain why, at no cost to us, explain why they recommended payment when those items are non-existent.
I don't disagree. Other than the signpost issue, which is all that, there's really that one change order. What about the other items?
If they're requesting a payment and they have confirmed that we have gotten the percentage that they put down, I would approve the payment. I mean, I think we have an obligation to pay them as soon as possible once the work is done. But to Frank's point, anything that hasn't been done, we shouldn't be paying them for. So if that first payment on the base is accurate as to what they've done, I would make a motion to pay that.
I would second that, as long as we can confirm it's accurate, and I think we need to confirm it ourselves, rather. At this point, I'm uncomfortable with BSC's approval when we know that some of the items are non-existent yet.
Right.
Just for edification, the change order number 1 was the work at the cross lane curbing for $1,200. Change order number 3 was replacing the blacktop at Teddy's for $2,250. Change order number 4 was the new trees, removing fences and the new vinyl fence. We know they did the ramp. We know they put the trees in. We're not moving the fence or putting in the vinyl fence till they arrive. So that one needs to be discussed also. And then change order number 2, as Frank had said, was the decorative signposts for $3,000.
Oh, and they still put up the original base bid signpost at Bocce.
That's right.
So the first payment that we're approving is on the original bid, correct?
The first payment is 90% of the base bid, and then 100% of the work on the sidewalks on Shore Road. The alternate bids for the sidewalks on Shore Road. So with the exception of, on the base bid, with the exception of the punch list item, which we want them to make sure they finish, and the signpost, which I'm assuming is why it's not at 100% on this particular application, everything has been done. So that, again, to answer your question, Bonnie, yes, application number 2 is for the base bid up to 90% and 100% the sidewalk sections on Shore Road.
Which is the alternate. So that's what I made the motion for. I didn't make the motion for any of the change orders, and that's not included in that request. The change orders are not included, correct?
That's correct.
So
maybe
they're,
we could-
oh, go ahead, Bonnie, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, so they're holding back 10%, which the signposts and the miscellaneous dirt that has to get fixed on the one property there. That 10% holdback is well more than the 2 signposts, I think, correct? I think that's what we're getting at. So if I'm not mistaken.
So Bonnie made a motion for the first application. Bonnie, do you want to amend it for the total amount, and then it can be seconded? Probably should have done that. Sorry.
So I made it, if I understand this correctly, and it's very difficult not seeing the application in front of us. But if I understand this correctly, the application is number 2 is for payment of the base bid and the alternate that we approved to be done. And it's 90% short, and the things that weren't done are the ones that Eric commented. And
that's right.
And you want me to amend my motion to include the total amount, which I don't have in front of me.
Okay, I'm sorry because I can't use my screen. Frank can maybe put it up as a host, or you can pull up your email that I sent it to you on last week.
Yeah, I was trying to pull up the email and I haven't found it yet.
The current application number 2 payment due is $47,749.40.
Okay, so I will make my motion for that amount.
Okay. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Can you tell me who that was?
Jim got in there first.
Thank you, guys. Okay, so we have a motion by Bonnie for payment of application number 2 in the amount of $47,749.40 for the base, 90% of the base pay and all the alternate sidewalks, and it was seconded by Jim. Any further discussion?
I'm looking for that email, see if I could share it with everybody. But I think we're well on our way to,
I think it's good.
yeah.
Then I'll call a vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Aye, unanimous.
Correct.
Okay. The third application for payment, which was also signed off by BSC Group, is in the amount of $14,226.25. It represents 100% payment on the base bid. And the others were, we've already discussed, those were already on the alternate.
Well, I couldn't buy off on that because the base bid isn't 100% complete. We're still missing a signpost.
Yep.
Correct. And the repair on, I don't know the property, but the driveway there, that has to get done as well. So
29 Hartford or whatever it is, or 28 Hartford.
yeah. So do we need to make a motion to not approve it, or we just table it?
I can table it. I think that's probably the easiest until we get
would
some
agree.
feedback. Okay.
I guess we just need to communicate with BSC that
Yep.
we didn't approve it because it's not complete. So you can't get paid for 100% when you haven't completed 100%.
Right. And that's the email you will see from me to him.
Oh, okay.
And then, thank you. And then the final application is application 4 in the amount of $35,482.50. This application is for the 4 change orders, which we discussed previously. It does include, let me pull this up. Change order number 1, which is the cross lane curb for $1,200. Change order number 2, which is the decorative signpost for $3,000. Change order number 3, the blacktop at Teddy's in $2,250. And change order number 4, the ramp, trees, fences, and vinyl fence at $30,900.
And what percentage did BSC recommend?
100.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
But retainage, there is retainage to the previous discussion. Yeah.
Like
Well, again,
14.
they're asking for the change order of the signpost at the end of Hartford Avenue, and they haven't put it in. So they could amend their application and remove that. I think everything else that they're asking for in the other change orders has been complete, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, no,
Except for the
they
vinyl
haven't-
fence.
They haven't brought the fence in yet either.
Yeah.
Fence,
So
which is a pretty hefty sum.
yeah, right. So then again, that I guess in our email that they're going to have to amend the application. Certainly, they can get paid for the work at Teddy's and Shore Road and Cross Lane, and a portion of the trees because the trees are in, but without a fence or a signpost.
I agree. It seems to me that BSC is supposed to be discerning this and separating out what's done and what's not, and saying, we can't pay you for this because it's not done. That's what happened in the beginning when we got the application, I think number 2, or and they said, redo it, give us the percentage that's complete, and then we'll approve the payment. This should not take this long. Really shouldn't.
It should never have gotten this far.
Right,
Well-
I agree.
I agree. I think that Kurt had tried to make that very clear to our contractor. The contractor kept sending the application to the town hall and by-stepping VSC group review process when Kurt was there. I think now with Rob, I think he might not be as detailed, and so I will send an email including Tim on that, because I don't think he's joined us.
Tim just joined us.
Yeah,
Oh,
better late than never.
Yeah, I think that application Rob needs to be notified that, there's no way that they should have approved this. He needs to be put on notice that this is a situation that we can't let go by.
yeah, I totally agree, and I'll put that in the email. Tim, just so you know, the committee recommended that you approve payment for application number 2, which is in the amount of $47,749.40. But we have tabled payment for application 3 and 4 pending BSC's review of the items that are not complete yet.
Okay, yeah, I think we've had 2 for a while waiting, so that's good. Okay, we'll wait on 3 and 4.
Yeah, you received last week 2, 3, and 4 in an email from Rob. They signed off on those on March 22nd. So we are going to go email Rob after this call and just say that we recommended to you payment for application number 2 only, and that they need redo the other applications.
Because they're not complete, because there are parts of those that are not complete, and they're asking for 100% payment, it appears.
Right.
Would 3 and 4 be basically for the whole project then?
No, these would be for everything but the transit hub, which is the remaining work on the transit hub, which will be change order number 5. And they're going to be beginning that work in mid-April.
All right, so is 3 and 4 related to the sidewalks then?
No, it's in 3 and one of them has to do with the vinyl fence up at the Transit Hub property and some trees. Another one has to do with the additional signpost, which was a change order. And then we also have the base bid, which was missing the signpost at Bocce, which is part of the base bid. So there's bits and pieces of all of those things that are in question. And BSC has recommended that they be paid, and we obviously can't go along with that because there's just big chunks of the contracted items that aren't even there.
Can I ask a question? Is it possible to approve change order number 1, which is the cross lane curbing, and change order number 3, which is the blacktop at Teddy's? Can we approve those separately, or are they all bulked into one request?
This is is this an AIA document? I think these are AIA documents, in which case, Bonnie, they're all lumped together. It's a single number. So it's all or none.
Application number 4 has all the change orders lumped into one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, yeah,
I
1 through
think-
4 are lumped into 4.
I think they should know that we're trying to get them paid, but you know,
I'll
we're,
put
we're
that in
not
the
trying to
email.
hold their money.
I
Yeah.
was at Teddy's over the weekend, and Teddy showed me a video of water still puddling along that curb. So I said, well, I don't know. You know, they put a little strip of bituminous along there and did a curb, I guess, maybe did the curb over, but it's still, it doesn't seem like it's pitching toward Cross Lane enough to get the water out of there. But, you know, we did have a big rain, so I don't know how long it stayed there or what, but I think he's still stewing about that.
Unfortunately, we didn't list what the pre-existing conditions were at Teddy's, and we had no way of knowing what the pre-existing conditions are. We don't know whether this made it worse or better.
Probably better, but they might have done a water test and just dumped, 50 gallons of water in there or something and see what the hell happens and if it's creating a puddle, but I don't know. It's been a perennial thing.
Yeah. Well, hopefully when he determines what he wants to do with his frontage, he had quite a plan for that whole area that needs town approval.
Oh,
Thing will change.
that could, if he does that whole park, that bituminous surface into outdoor restaurant thing, it might be a moot point. We could definitely slope it better then, or he could.
Right, or put some drainage in there, you know.
Right.
Drainage material, anyway.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, thank you, everybody. You'll see an email from me to DSC and copy all of you after this call.
Very good. Do you want a motion to adjourn, or do we have something else?
We have to approve our minutes from March 1st. So I could use some.
I'll make a motion to approve those.
Thank you. Have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is that Eric?
Yes.
Thank you, Eric. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions? Any nays? Motion carries. Thank you. And then next meetings, I guess, will be to be determined based on what we hear back from our engineering firm, and also regarding the restart date. Okay, if nothing.
We really ought to know when that restart date is so that we can, keep an eye on that Hartford Avenue issues there, that blacktop and reseeding of that.
Yep, I've asked for that. At this point, all we've been told is mid-April, which I've shared with you.
Okay.
And Frank, I just have one observation. I'm just looking at the presentation we did to the town. And there's a rendering of what the transit hub is going to look like. And it looks like on the west side, that fence is short. So it looks like there's about 20 feet between the fence and the sidewalk that gives us access to that front part of the transit hub.
I'll take a look at that. Maybe Kurt had already made that change. We had talked about it a couple of times, and he said that's a good idea. So I'll look at that again.
Yeah, on your east side, you have a fence that looks like it comes, it runs in a north to south direction, and looks like, I can't tell exactly what it is, maybe about 10 feet from the sidewalk. But on the west side, it's considerably shorter, and it's only half the distance from the gravel road to the sidewalk. So there's a lot of access there, and the back is totally open. So I don't think we're going to have it.
I would think if we were going to do anything there, we would probably want to make the access on the east side, on the side of the police station, so it could be monitored a little bit more closely.
We could flip, if we want, we could just flip the long side to the west and the short side to the east.
But I'll look at that and we can have that discussion later on, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. If there's nothing else, motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Okay.
Thank you, Frank, and thank you, Bonnie. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any nays? Okay, thank you, everybody.
Joe, I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on with these recordings. I have one recording here that I've started, and I have another recording that shows that we've been recording for over an hour and 10 minutes, which I know is not accurate. So maybe Michelle
you
can
would-
sort this out.
Yeah, if you would turn off your recording, I'll turn it off on my end, and we'll figure it out.
I know. I just wanted to make sure we